The story kicks off in the buzzing city of Tokyo, where CIA operative Avery Graves is in full action mode. She's got a target in sight, and without missing a beat, rappels down a skyscraper like it's nothing. Landing gracefully on the ground, she immediately neutralizes a nearby guy who stands in her way. Inside the building, a Yakuza boss named Kenji is casually talking about his next shipment, completely unaware of the storm heading his way. Before he can react, Avery's Glock is planted firmly on his forehead, forcing him to unlock his safe. But just as he opens it, a guard barges in, giving Kenji the split-second chance he needs to escape, clutching a drive. Avery quickly deals with the intruder and takes off after Kenji, slicing through more guards with lethal precision. At one point, she finds herself cornered, but a few slick moves later, she's back in control. Just when she thinks she has the upper hand, Kenji tries to ambush her. The two engage in a brutal fight, but Avery eventually overpowers him and ends the fight decisively by drowning him in his own pool. With the drive in hand, she disappears into the night. After this intense mission, Avery flies back to Croatia, where her life is a lot calmer, or at least it seems. She's at home with her husband David, who is busy preparing a cozy dinner for their 30th anniversary. They exchange gifts, and Avery can't hide her delight when she sees that David got her the jacket she's been eyeing forever. Then David casually drops the idea of adopting puppies, but Avery laughs it off, saying she's not ready for pets yet. Instead of settling down to eat, Avery suggests they head out to dinner. While walking, David asks if she wants to join him on an upcoming business trip overseas. Avery lights up at the idea, happy to spend some time with him since it's been a while. The next morning, Avery is getting ready for work. David tries to convince her to stay in bed with him, but she's determined to head out. They share a kiss before she leaves. At work, Avery meets with her boss and friend Jarvis. She gives him a watch she picked up from her last mission, and they both share a brief, light-hearted moment before diving into business. They review the contents of Kenji's drive, discovering it contains information about businesses acting as fronts for shipping weapons. Even more alarming, it mentions a top-tier assassin codenamed Key who messed up a job for the Russian Mafia in Tokyo, killing 2 undercover agents in the process. Avery and Jarvis plan to dig deeper to identify him and get more intel. Later, Avery returns home, trying to avoid the chatty neighbors. But the moment she steps inside, she's hit with a nightmare. Her house is trashed, and David's cracked glasses lie on the floor. She calls out for him frantically, only to be interrupted by a ringing phone. The voice on the other end is disguised, but chillingly familiar. It gives her the details of a prisoner at a CIA black site who holds a file called Canary Black, hidden inside a fake tooth. The person on the line threatens that if Avery doesn't steal the file, she'll never see David again. Avery demands proof, and David screams confirm the threat is real. The mysterious voice instructs her to use a payphone at midnight in her alley to deliver the file, warning that if she fails or involves the agency, David will be killed. Avery threatens back, promising she'll kill the man if anything happens to David, but he coldly reminds her of the rules and hangs up. She immediately calls in a favor from a hacker named Serena, someone who can work off the books. At first, Serena hesitates, but Avery reminds her that the Russians are already watching her recent hack, so she has little choice but to comply. Serena tracks the burner phone's location and texts it to Avery while she suits up, gun in hand. Avery heads out and discovers that the CIA detainee is named Ilo Stoa. Most of his files are restricted, but she grabs what she can and takes off. She finds the location of the last call and heads there immediately. Inside the seemingly abandoned apartment, she hears a phone ringing. Next to it, she spots David's wedding ring on the line. The distorted voice on the phone reveals he's watching her live, even reading out her entire CIA file. The situation is a trap, but Avery thinks fast. Using her cell phone, she identifies the bomb under her foot as a bouncing Betty. Quick on her feet, she breaks the leg of a nearby table, triggering the bomb and flinging it out the window, causing part of the building to collapse. Unarmed now, Avery flashes a middle finger at the camera and escapes to her car, driving away with renewed determination. Next stop, the CIA black site where Stoa is held. Avery convinces the agent in charge, Maxfield, to let her see Stoa, explaining that he has intel connected to her case. She learns Stoa is locked up for stealing top-secret information. Inside his cell, Avery tries to persuade Stoa to cooperate, offering help if he gives up information about Key and the Canary Black file. Stoa refuses, so Avery yanks the fake tooth out herself, only to find it empty. She then subdues Maxfield and escapes, leaving him thinking she stole the file. Chaos erupts at CIA headquarters as Deputy Director Nathan Evans demands explanations. Jarvis explains that Avery, an orphan, was trained as an assassin from the age of 18, and he doesn't believe she's a traitor. But Evans wants her hunted anyway, stressing that the Canary Black file is loaded with blackmail material on top officials, including Jarvis himself, and can't fall into enemy hands. He gives Jarvis free rein to neutralize her. Jarvis and Maxfield review footage of Avery's escape, suspicious that she's been manipulating them all along. They trace David's activities and see his card used in Rome, alongside one of Avery's aliases, Olga Morov. Meanwhile, Avery contacts Jarvis, explaining the situation. David is being held ransom for the Canary Black file, which she doesn't have. She urges him to trust her and check out her house. Jarvis keeps up appearances, pretending to talk to his wife, then leads a CIA team to Avery's home, only to find it neat and organized, contrary to the story he expected. Maxfield doesn't believe Avery's story and immediately starts searching for the file. Avery moves quickly, heading to a club to track down Henrik, a local operator. He's not thrilled to see her, but she convinces him to provide a list of items, foreign agents, assassins, and intel brokers, promising payment for his help. She then goes to one of her safe houses, only to be attacked inside. After a brief fight, she kills the intruder and grabs a suitcase from the kitchen. But her attacker's phone rings. It's the distorted voice again. He claims the man she just killed was his, and he's cleared out a rainy day fund as revenge for playing him. Avery realizes the suitcase is empty. Soon after, a video call shows David being tortured. The man believes Avery has a Canary Black file, explaining why the CIA is after her. He gives her 4 hours to get the file or David dies. Desperate, Avery meets Jarvis inside his car that night, trying to convince him of her innocence. Jarvis explains what the Canary Black file is and warns her that even he is on it. Avery doesn't get a chance to exchange it. Suddenly, the car is surrounded by CIA agents, and she realizes she's been set up. Maxfield and his team arrest her, putting her in a convoy. But 2 cars start chasing them, planting bombs on the CIA vehicles and detonating them remotely. In the ensuing chaos, Avery sees an opportunity. She attacks the agents, causing multiple crashes, including Jarvis's car. She frees herself, grabs a rifle, and eliminates the attackers. One agent survives and chases her. When he tries to attack with a knife, Avery expertly dodges and turns the tables, killing him with his own blade. At this point, Avery is on high alert. Things go sideways fast when Avery's attacker turns out to be none other than her neighbor, Rurik. She's got questions, she wants answers, but before she can get them, he's dead. That's the way her life keeps going. Messy, dangerous, and full of loose ends. Meanwhile, back at CIA headquarters, Jarvis tries to convince Maxfield that Avery might be compromised, but Maxfield isn't buying it. He's convinced she's turned traitor and even threatens to have Jarvis removed from the case if he keeps defending her. Frustrated, they come across a photo of Avery's neighbor, and Jarvis finally recognizes him, adding a new layer to the puzzle. Elsewhere, the big bad behind all the chaos, Konrad Brennoff, is making his presence felt. We see him coldly reminding Rurik's wife that soldiers are just pawns meant to die, and when someone else fails to capture Avery, he doesn't hesitate to execute them as an example. Meanwhile, Avery's still hustling, meeting with Henrik, the local operator. Money is tight. She only has a few thousand to offer, but she sweetens the deal by promising intelligence in exchange. She fills him in about Kenji's deep connections inside the UN Security Council, including how he skimmed off the top from his operations. Henrik, in turn, shares some critical info. The Kruger brothers, including the notorious Key, are working in the city. Avery instantly suspects Key is behind David's kidnapping. She also learns that Rurik was a private contractor so secretive that even the CIA didn't know about him. After the briefing, Henrik hands over the items she requested, but warns her sternly not to contact him again. Meanwhile, Evans, hot on Avery's trail, heads to a high-tech headquarters to meet its director. The irony? The director is Konrad Brennoff himself. Konrad scolds Evans for the mess he's creating in the city, playing the situation like a master manipulator. Evans, undeterred, offers a partnership to capture Avery, which Konrad accepts, but he insists he wants the first shot at interrogating her. Avery, ever resourceful, secures a hotel room under a false name. That night, She slips out of the window and crawls along a narrow ledge, making her way to a room across the way, coincidentally where Evans is staying. There, she finds a picture of David and a message. Show up with a file at midnight. Evans, oblivious, returns to his room, only for Avery to ambush him. She covers his face with a mute mask and straps him to a chair. She explains that Stoa didn't have the file, and David's life is on the line. Evans warns her that she'll die if she hands over the file, and Avery, determined to get answers, suspects Evans himself might have it. She demands the password to his laptop. Evans refuses at first, but Avery doesn't waste time testing his limits. She breaks his fingers one by one, and when he still hesitates, she straps a remote detonated bomb around his neck, threatening to kill him if he won't comply. Finally, he gives up the password, but there's a catch. His account can only be accessed through a CIA secure server. Avery calls Serena, her hacker ally, to track down the closest server. She also reaches out to Jarvis, asking for blueprints of PLK Technologies, a defense contractor with a secure server. Jarvis knows it's risky. This could blow his cover, but he helps anyway. Avery meets Serena on a rooftop next to PLK Technologies, planning to use a drone to get inside. Jarvis delivers the blueprints, and Avery rides the drone toward the building. She hops off onto the roof and instructs Serena to return in 10 minutes. Moving through the building like a ghost, Avery hacks into the server room, logs into Evans' account, and copies the Canary Black files. Meanwhile, Evans wakes up restrained, unable to call for backup, and his agents eventually locate him, alerting PLK's security. Avery's done what she came to do, and now it's time to get out. Security guards converge, but Avery neutralizes them one by one. She leaps from the building onto the drone, but gunfire causes it to wobble, and she crashes onto the street. No time to rest. She texts Serena a meeting location, then commandeers a car from a startled driver. Evans, furious, calls Conrad, and they start mobilizing their forces. Avery meets Serena, and they access the files, only to discover the terrifying truth. Canary Black isn't just data. It's a collection of deadly doomsday viruses, each aimed at a specific country. In the wrong hands, an entire nation's economy could collapse overnight. Avery doesn't hesitate. Serena encrypts the files, and Avery uses Serena's phone to contact Jarvis, keeping a careful eye on the clock. It's nearly midnight, so Avery speeds toward the pay phone she was told to answer. Out of nowhere, a truck blindsides her, but she keeps moving. She races toward the phone, but before she can answer, a man tases her and injects her with something. Meanwhile, Conrad has already secured the Canary Black file and is enacting his plan. Donning a mask, he hijacks a live feed at the Global Unification Summit in New York. He announces that he controls the viruses and will release them unless every country pays a ransom equal to 1% of their GDP. To demonstrate his power, he launches the virus against Singapore, plunging the country into darkness. Conrad tells his men to prepare for the heist of $1 trillion in payments. Evans calls Maxfield into a private meeting, revealing that the CIA actually created the Canary Black viruses as a weapon, so secretive that even the president doesn't know about them. They also made a US-specific virus in case of civil war or invasion. Now, they need to track down whoever's hacking the system. Jarvis, on his end, is tracking Avery's cell phone. He locates a hideout and pretends to be drunk, sneaking in and taking out the guards outside. Once inside, he's caught at gunpoint and brought before Conrad. Shocked to see Conrad in person, Jarvis demands to know Avery's whereabouts and warns him that the CIA will come for him. Conrad, unmoved, shoots Jarvis dead. Avery wakes up, slapped and mocked by Conrad for her weakness and for making him rich. She demands to see David, and Conrad, showing his twisted sense of control, drags him in, beaten and bound, courtesy of Rurik's wife. As panic spreads worldwide, nations begin paying ransoms one by one. David, surprisingly, fights back, brutally killing Rurik's wife and freeing Avery. Shock and disbelief hit Avery when David reveals his true identity. He's Callie. He was the one who told Conrad about Canary Black. The kidnapping was part of their plan to manipulate Avery into retrieving the file. After a botched mission, his identity was exposed, forcing him to cooperate with Conrad. He claims their marriage was real to him, and he was just trying to protect them both. Avery, stunned, demands he cut off Conrad's internet access so she can stop him. As countries scramble to pay the ransom, Evans loses his composure, ordering his team to locate Avery and Jarvis. Avery stumbles across Jarvis's body and mourns it briefly. Conrad has collected most of the payments, but a few countries, including the US, haven't paid. He prepares to unleash their viruses when David hits a breaker, plunging the base into darkness. Avery uses the chaos to get closer, opening fire on Conrad while he tries to launch the viruses. A gunfight ensues, with Avery taking out attackers, chasing Conrad and his hacker through the facility. After a tense shootout, Avery corners the hacker, knocking him out, and focuses on Conrad. He offers her billions, but she keeps firing. They clash physically, with Conrad grabbing a knife, but Avery's speed and skill overpower him. The two fall over a balcony during the fight, and Avery barely manages to stop the viruses from activating. She kills Conrad and prevents a global catastrophe. David approaches her, apologizing and offering to fix things, but Avery doesn't trust him. She returns his wedding band. Just then, CIA agent storm in. David confesses his love and jumps out a window. Avery is arrested and interrogated by Evans, who rants about all the laws she broke and how her mentor and husband were killed. She headbutts him in defiance. At that moment, Elizabeth Mills arrives. Evans gets a call from the president. Elizabeth represents a newly formed secret agency, MC6, tasked with dealing with the highest level threats. She offers Avery a position, and instead of going to prison, Avery accepts. Later, as she walks outside, Avery spots David's wedding band on a guardrail, a subtle hint that he's still alive. A small smirk crosses her face as she realizes that, in this world of lies and betrayal, not everything is as lost as it seems. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.